Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're live. It always does that spinning thing. All right, so quite a while back, I talked about, of course, in August of 2017, we had the eclipse, where it went all the way across the United States, right? And then in September, on September 23rd, I had already talked about the astrological sign Virgo in the heavens, and the significance of that, as far as the fact that Jupiter did basically. I don't know what this thing is doing. I don't know how much of it got. All right, so this is an update on from a video I did in 2017. Now, the significance of 2017, other than the eclipse thing that happened that went across the United States, right? And then in September we had that uh, the astrological sign Virgo, not astrological, whatever it's called, constellation, the Virgo constellation, and she had the crown of 12 stars, which was 9 stars, and then it was like Mercury, Venus, and Pluto, or something like that, that made up the other 3 stars for her crown. She had the sun behind her and the moon at her feet, and Jupiter came in, like, every year he does this, and Jupiter will come in, and then he will usually exit out her side. Well, in 2017, he had come into her womb area and circled for 42 weeks, which is about the gestational period for a woman before she gives birth. And after 42 weeks, on September 23rd, instead of exiting out of her side, Jupiter exited out between her legs, as if she was giving birth. Do you remember me talking about that? Okay. Well, that same year, those two planets that get in each other's path, that looks like the Star of David, the star that the 3 wise men followed until they found the baby Jesus. Well, that star only comes out like every 2,000 years. The last time it came out was 2017, the star was out. And then prior to that, it was the birth of Jesus. And prior to that, it was when God told Abraham he'd be the father of many nations. Now, each time that this star appears, it's usually up there for 2 years, or something significant happens in the 2 years after it first shines in the sky. Like Abraham, it was up there, and that's when God told him that, he would be the father of many nations. And within that 2 year period, the angels came, which I think one of them was Son of Man, and told him that his wife, Sarah, would give birth to a son, which she laughed. But she, a year later, she did have the child. So that was the thing that was significant that happened that time. The star, or I call it a star, but it's really two planets intersecting that makes it look like a star. And then 2,000 years later, the star obviously was in the sky again when the birth of Jesus. And the significant thing that happened within that 2 years after the star appeared is Herod had all the Jewish babies under two and under, murdered, because he was trying to kill the king of the Jews, the king of Israel. He was trying to kill Jesus. Fortunately, Joseph was warned in a dream to take the mother and the baby to Egypt, so they escaped before the Roman guards came and killed all the babies. Now in 2017, the two planets intersect again. The star, the star of Bethlehem, I guess that's what they call it. And the thing that happened in that 2 year period that was significant, other than the constellation that happened in September, was in that 2 year period, in 2017, red heifers were born. And they have two now that so far, usually if they're going to develop too many white hairs to where they won't be eligible for sacrifice, it's within the first 2 years, or like by the age of 2. If they haven't developed them, then they usually won't. And I watched a video that it was dated like July 11th, I want to say, and they verified that those red heifers qualify, or at least one of them qualifies for the sacrifice. And what they're saying is they have to do the sacrifice with this red heifer, and because they need the ashes, I guess they burn it on the altar. They need the ashes so that the third temple can be built. And that's something I watched just the other day. Oh, sorry, I have kittens in here to keep them safe from the adult cats, and shoo. Anyway, but I just wanted to say that, that people do not realize how close we are to Jesus coming for the church, for his bride. In Luke 21, 23, I think it is. Let me get my Bible. Basic instructions for leaving earth. I was reading in Daniel 2, or getting ready to earlier. I'm getting ready to, actually. Luke 21. Okay. Here we go. Luke 21:8. They're asking him, what sign will there be when these things come to pass? And he said, take heed that you be not deceived. And Jesus said that several times. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draws near. Go ye not, therefore, after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass. The end is not by and by. Then he said unto them, nation shall rise against nation. Now the Greek word for nation, because the New Testament was written in Greek originally, is ethnos, which means ethnic. So it's basically ethnic group against ethnic group, which we have that going on right now, even here in the United States. Okay, it's saying they're having trouble playing this video, but it's still recording. I just have a black screen. And kingdom against kingdom, which we have that. All of the players that it talks about in Ezekiel 38, the war of Gog and Magog, they are already in place all around Israel. They are absolutely surrounded. Great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall be from the heavens. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. We know that's going on. The persecution in Iran and Pakistan and India and China is just overwhelming. And it's coming to the United States. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what you shall answer. For I'll give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay or resist. But the main thing about Luke that I wanted to talk about, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. You see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. And and he goes into woe unto them that are with child, and them who give suck or that are nursing. In those days there will be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people, which we are already seeing that. They shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive. It hasn't quite gotten that bad. I mean, it did in with Hitler. How many millions of Jews did he kill? Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Well, folks, the time of Gentiles has been fulfilled, just so you'll know. Or it's pert near done. Talking like a hillbilly. And there shall be signs in the sun, and the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, or ethnic groups, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming. Now, and there, he's talking about in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. Now, in Luke 21, he's talking about the rapture. In Matthew 24, he's talking about the second coming. And when I say the second coming, I don't mean when Jesus comes and takes his church. It's when Jesus comes and literally puts his feet on earth, when he returns after the 7-year tribulation period with his armies, and he brings the kingdom of heaven with him and sets up his kingdom here on the earth for the 1,000 years. So anyways, just so you know, they now have a red heifer that qualifies for sacrifice. And so they're like, they've already chose a high priest for the new temple. And some of the top rabbis have already said that they already know who the Antichrist is, or who they think is the Messiah. They said they already know who the Messiah is, and that he's already here. And we believers know that that is not the Messiah. The Messiah is Jesus. This person is the Antichrist. And a lot of folks are going to think it's Jesus or think that it's the Messiah. But we know that when our Messiah returns, he's going to be on the white horse. His robes are going to be dipped in blood. And he's coming not to save the world, but to judge it. You know, there was one person that had a sign that says, let Jesus come back, we'll kill him again. That was horrible. But you know what? Jesus is coming back as the judge, jury, and executioner. So, you know, they can talk all their smack now, but sadly they're going to be regretting those words. But I just wanted to just kind of give you an update on that and let you know where we're at, folks. This is getting tough. This is getting serious, and it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. The masks thing and the quarantine and the COVID-19 and them lying about the numbers and all that, that's just getting people molded to get them ready to be controlled by martial law and to bring in the mark of the beast, which fortunately we won't be here. The church will not be here when people have to decide either take the mark or you can't buy or sell food or whatever, you know. And then eventually it'll be take the mark and denounce your faith or be beheaded. You remember I did a video a few years back when Obama was still president, and it shows where he had ordered tens of thousands of guillotines. For what? And then, you know those white generic coffins that they were burying the COVID-19 people that sadly died from it? That they were burying them in these coffins? At the same time that I was seeing about all these guillotines that Obama ordered, there were trucks. And there's a video of a girl riding on the highway, and she's showing this truck that has hundreds of these white coffins. And it's just loaded down with these coffins. And they're like bringing all these coffins in at the same time around the same time they ordered these guillotines. And we know what that's for. We know what that's for. Either the coffins was to get ready for this pandemic, or it is to get ready for the Antichrist. But just stay prayed up, stay close to God, seek Him daily, seek Him always. You know, always in prayer. Pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters, for when they hurt, we all hurt, because we're all one body. And pray for, us here in the United States, because you don't hear the United States talked about in the Bible, in Revelation. And I kind of have a sinking feeling I know why. But I'm hoping we're gone. But I feel for those that are left behind. So while we have time, we need to be reaching as many people as we can to tell them about the precious gift that God gave us of eternal life through his son, Jesus, who came to earth, died for our sins, and rose from the dead and paid the sin debt in full. That as long as we look upon Jesus and we believe that he is the Son of God and that he died and rose again, that we'll be saved and our names will be written in the Lamb's Book of Life. But that's not where it stops. I mean, that's not, yeah, it doesn't stop there. Once you give yourself to Jesus, you're basically giving your life, you're surrendering all to him. And then, you know, we are to do the will of the Father. And that's to reach as many people that are lost as we can, because time is running out. With all this violence and disruption and destruction and everything going on, there are a lot of people, and I heard a pastor talking about this, there's a lot of people that are looking for hope. And we need to be telling them, Titus 2:13, that we're looking for our blessed hope. That's why we lift up our heads and look and watch, to keep watching. Sound the alarm, folks. We're getting ready to go home. God bless. Have a blessed night, and I hope that everything you touch, that God blesses everything you put your hands to. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.